Welcome back. We are here with Mace from Stampede Network. Mace, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, bro. Yourself?
I'm doing good, man. It's awesome to chat. It's been a little bit. So you started Stampede Network over 2 years ago. How did all this start for you?
So it started more so the way most brand builders will create their businesses is they'll start, as an entrepreneur and all that. For me, I started first as a creator. So about 7 months before I'd finally released Bee Bread, Spartan Bee Bread, our main product, I'd gone through a self-improvement journey myself, got onto TikTok to document that, use that as a vehicle to, help me express myself more, get out of my shell, and really just like build a personal brand. And I didn't think it would turn into what it is now. Honestly, like I was just using it as a way to, be me, right? I was not good at that before. And so 7 months after that, I had a decent sized following. I was at around like 70,000, I think, on TikTok. And that's when finally I realized, because I was living in my parents' basement at the time with no money, I'd put all my money into building this Stampede Network idea. It started as programs and clothing and all that. I wasn't a good marketer yet. And so I finally had the epiphany of I need to sell what they want, which was going to be supplements, because that's my audience. And I was like, I don't want to be a supplement guy.
Yeah.
Like I was so resistant to it because, I had this whole stigma of how it is. The industry is full of lies and putting crappy products together. And so I was like, if I do this, I'm going to do it the right way, my way, align it with the 3 T's: truth, trust, and transparency. So that's our values. And I really built it up around that. And so first day I put out a video about Spartan Bee Bread, it blew up to like 2 million views, sold out the store in a single day. Yeah. And so like I had drop shipping experience from years prior. But I didn't have cash flow at the time because there was some stuff that shut all of that down. So like I knew how to build a business. I knew how to scale it up and put systems in place. I just didn't have the jet fuel to do it. And so when that video finally popped off for Bee Bread, there was the match that lit it up. So just took all that fuel and put it into the business, constantly scaling it up, and just rocketed. So, I mean, our first full year was 2022. We did about 650K in revenue.
It's crazy.
And then the year after we did 3.5 million.
Jeez.
So just been nuking it. It's been cool.
That's awesome. And you have an American Mustang as your logo. Why did you choose this to represent your brand?
There's a lot of reasons. So one, when I was a kid, my nickname was always like Mason the Mustang, right? So it's this like animal that resonated with me. But then two, well, in college, so I have like a minor in equestrian.
Okay.
I took 3 years of horseback riding in college. So I always loved these things. I always had an affinity to it. But the biggest one is when I was a kid, my favorite movie was this movie Spirit, right? You've seen Spirit?
No, I've not.
Dude, it's goated. Like I would put it in the same plane as Lion King for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so good. But there's this scene where Spirit, the horse, is being chased by all these like military dudes. And so he leaps over this freaking gap out in the frontier out west. And I was like, this scene as a kid just sparked. It was just like this moment of seeing what freedom is, right? Like jumping over that gap with faith, right? And so it's like before he jumps, if you look up the scene of Spirit jumping the gap, he closes his eyes and visualizes it. And I was like, dude, this was a perfect encapsulation of what this brand is about, because the Stampede Network is, sure, you get like fitness as a byproduct and external health, but more than anything, it's about spiritual fitness and healing from the inside out, right? So like we're the first brand that's really focused on giving your spirit a workout, working out your soul, right? So it's like what we stand for, if you want to visualize it, is someone sitting there meditating and behind them is their soul like bench pressing.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what it's about, right? Because that's what moves the needle at the end of the day. Everything we see and experience around us is just a reflection of everything going on up here and in here, right? So that's what we're about. That's what we stand for. But anyway, the horse itself, it's like, if you picture the American Mustang, one, when it's running alone is cool, right? It's cool to see. But when you see a stampede of them coming together, it's like, wow. And it shakes the entire earth and it blows your mind. And so it's like the horse itself, the stallion, represents running into the unknown, courage, bravery, fearlessness, adventure, pushing the limits, being bold, right? And so that's everything we stand for. Freedom more than anything, sovereignty. And so, the story of it is about the Greek Hippeus, which is the Greek cavalry, right? So that's how we brought it into the whole Greek thing. It represents that movement, the cavalry going to war together, this conscious revolution on a journey and a mission to change the world and the way we consume and, what we know about the things that we are consuming as well as ourselves.
Yes. And you mentioned that your products are very different and you wanted to bring something different to the market in general, not be that supplement guy. What differentiates your guys' products versus others?
Well, the products themselves hit all mind, body, and spirit. So, like we're targeting actually helping your soul empower. And the only way to do that is to focus on the processes that lead to those things that we're looking for anyway. So it's like, for example, people take testosterone, right?
Yeah.
They'll take exogenous testosterone and they look good and feel good, but it's still, they're reliant on this external source. So it's like, if you want it to be sustainable, you would focus more on like your balls, right?
Yeah.
And the things that create testosterone in the first place, right? So it's like all of our supplements, the function of them, the end result we want, we focus on the function of the thing going on underneath and increasing the ability of that to do so, right? So all of our blends target different parts of a system. So for example, we have a protein coming out. It's going to be so freaking good, dude. It's called Hercules Secret.
Okay.
It's the beef isolate protein, grass fed. It's amazing quality. Cinnamon horchata flavor. So fire. Wow. Got maple sugar and cinnamon bark. Super clean. But like what I'm saying with that is we also have probiotics in there, digestive enzymes, gut support. So it's like, not only do you get the fuel, but you get everything that helps burn the fuel, right? You affect the whole ecosystem. And so that's really our focus, right? So it's like Awaken, for example, our pre-workout. A lot of people are just nuking themselves with caffeine and beta-alanine, right? Yeah. Like what caffeine is it's also a diuretic. So you pee out all the minerals and vitamins, right? So you lose all the things you need, right? Which also leads you to becoming dehydrated. And also your adrenal glands get fatigued, right? From the caffeine spikes and all of that. And so I was like, well, let's combat that while we energize them. So we did decaffeine mallet, which is smoother, cleaner energy, but we also have electrolytes inside of it. We also use nootropics to give them the mental benefits without hurting them, right? So we have theobromine, mucuna, alpha GPC. So all these things that affect us from the inside out, right? We have testosterone, serotonin, and dopamine all being hit there. So it makes the process of working out enjoyable. It's literally designed to make you like doing hard things, bro.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah. And so, it's like everything I do, I want to target it all in one, and really just like the goal is take one of our supplements, probably with others.
Yeah. And I really like how you focus on the underlying, because I feel like a lot of supplements, they advertise, get abs or be shredded, but they never focus on the underlying problems that like as humans we need to fix. And one of those products that you have is God Mode, and that helps detoxify the fluoride from your body. Could you kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so that one's designed to make, I call it being anti-BS, right? That's what the formula is about. It's like getting rid of just every toxin in the environment or thing that can lower our vibration, right? So it's like a vibration sustainer, because vibration is everything, right? So, it has immunity from the bee pollen to, keep you from getting sick. It has pine pollen in there, which helps boost your testosterone, keep you from the xenoestrogens affecting you. It has haritaki, which gets rid of the fluoride, but also opens your pineal gland, right? Yes. So help you get your intuition connected. But then there's also one more in there I'm not going to say on the podcast. You just have to read about it on the site, that it helps you get rid of nanotech, and you can make the connection with that one. We found a study, very chilling to read, that, is connected the needle with nanotech. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. If you want to read more, you can go on the site or DM me.
Yeah, no, that there's definitely some stuff in everything. I mean, it's shocking when you turn that label around and you're like, what have I been putting in my body this entire time? You look at the tap water, you look at the water you're showering in, you're like, let's get this shit out of my body. And to kind of switch gears a little bit, with you making $100,000 a month, what amount a month was most transformational in your life, and why?
It's a great question. I'd say the first, I've been like bootstrapping since the beginning, right? So I started this brand with like $500, right, to turn it into this. So, I mean, when I had 5,000 in my pocket, I was like, I can do whatever I want. Like, dudes are like, I need 30,000 to be happy. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I was fine doing that. I kind of felt like relieved a little bit after that. So mentally, that did a ton for me. I'd say it was more so when I had pocketed about 20,000 a month to myself, that I really felt like I could do whatever. Like I don't really buy a ton of things. My lifestyle hasn't really changed that much. Like my rent's like $1,800 a month, and I don't have any car payments or any of that. My food probably ends up at like $1,000 a month, right? So it's like there's so much left over, and I guess depends who you are too. But for me, it's like I can go travel to another country where I'll also save money eating over there, like Colombia, right? In Medellin, it's like half the cost, if that. So I mean, I'd say 20,000 was where I really felt wealthy. And then after, which is funny, but then after a while, you go through like, peaks and plateaus with this too. So it's like, you'll go through points where profit's heavy and then somewhere it shrinks, right? And then heavy and shrinks. And so like, you can get to points where you're like, oh, I feel broke, even though it's like you have hundreds of thousands coming in, you're spending a lot more too. And the gaps are just crazy. Thought someone knocked there. Someone walks in, be a fight. But so that was, I'd say 20. When I was pocketing about 20, that was very life-changing.
That's awesome. That's exciting as well. Like, damn, like your life goes from, hey, I'm making $5,000 a month to 20. It's like, holy crap, I can basically do whatever I want. And with you having 600,000 plus followers on TikTok and you spreading truth, are you ever nervous that the people in power are going to like shut you down or maybe even do something worse?
No, because I would press a claim and call it trespass by way of harm, which is just a whole different world. We could go into, there's law and then there's legal and all that stuff, but I'm not really worried about it at all, because it's like, if they did that, they'd be harming their fellow man. And that's the worst thing that you can do. So not too worried about it.
That's good. And your dad was a wrestler in the past, and you would go to tournaments with him when you were 4 years old. How did watching your dad go to those events affect your impact your success now?
That's a great question, bro. Like these are like little things you don't think about a ton. I guess always growing up in that competitive environment and that edge, it was like from the beginning learning what the competitive spirit is. Seeing him direct people and lead, he was a coach too, right? I grew up around that, but just like learning to embrace that, as well as like the fun inside of challenge. Most guys get touched today and they're like,
Yeah.
like, bro, come on, what is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
It's like, there's fun in that too. It's like when I was just in Miami this weekend, I was hanging out with some of my Twitter friends who are also brand owners. And it's like, we'd never met in person. We're cool, but we weren't like super tight yet, right? But like after we're on the beach and, I wrestle all of them, then it's like, well, after I beat them, we're all super tight all of a sudden. It's like, I think guys with testosterone actually enjoy that. So
Yeah.
I think you can tell a dude's level of testosterone by how much he enjoys things like that. But yeah, I don't know. It gave me a view of how to make, aggression and things like that healthy as well. How to channel it.
Yeah.
The hardest thing you can do is wrestling. Like that's being in conditioning for that sucks. So it's like mentally got me on point. It's that athlete mindset,
Yeah, for sure. And you also talk about the 12 laws of the universe. Which one is your favorite and why?
The law of correspondence. That's the second one in the Hermetic laws. And so that's as above, so below, right? I used all these. These are like things people think is philosophy or just like some spiritual woo-woo, but it's like, no, you apply these and they'll change your life, right? So it's like law of correspondence is saying we are the universe and the universe is us, right? So like when you have awareness of that, you can see your external environment and you can look at yourself and know exactly what's causing it inside. Like, why is this person reacting a certain way? Why am I triggered to something going on out there? So it's constantly telling us something about ourselves, and something outside is telling us about who we are. It's like, why do people keep walking away from me? Why do people keep stepping on me? Oh, well, my boundaries are kind of shit, So it's like, if you're aware of that, you can change yourself. And then too, it's like you use it for achieving success. It's like, if you want to, get in shape, if you want your environment to, your mirror in front of you, if you want to show like someone jacked and aesthetic inside of that, you have to mentally become that person who is in alignment with that. And that's also what the law of assumption is. But people think you sit there and just like assume that it's true and it's going to happen. It's like, no, you have to assume something is true means that you are being the person that it is true for. So your thoughts and your actions are already doing it as if it's true, not just sitting there like, yeah, it's true. Like, no, bro, you're sitting there doing absolutely nothing to change your life playing FIFA. Like your life has not changed. So it's not going to, because you're thinking different. You do. But yeah, law of correspondence.
Yeah, it's very interesting that you say that, because I think that's the spiritual community's way of like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to manifest, but I'm not going to, take any action to get there. And I think it's very awesome, because you come from a practical spiritual standpoint, which I love that you come from that perspective. I have two more questions.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Okay, from the past, it'd be Alexander the Great, for sure. Without a doubt. I'd be like, God, I want to know how this dude's strategy, like, I want to know how he thinks. Between him or Jesus, complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
So, two conquerors, but different methods. From the present, it's a good question. There's not anyone in. It sounds bad, but there's not anyone in the present that I'm like, I look up to, like I'm very just like, I used to be like that. And now I'm just like, God, that's about it. For me, I'm just always like very focused in my own lane. And I can't think of anybody actually on the spot. So It's a good one I'll have to sit with. I'd say maybe Tony Robbins. I like Tony Robbins.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the Alexander the Great one's awesome. That's a first. That's a first one for here. So I have one more question.
Cool.
You were the first person to ever give us a discount for our discount program. Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
Because I like your energy, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's energy. I only do business things, and business is just relationships. Like people go to networking events and try and network, and it's like, dude, I've never tried to network with somebody. I'm just friends with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like just be real, dude. That's all it is. And so it's like authentic energy. I want to help someone like that. You know, when I can tell they're authentically care about me and what I'm doing, I'll reciprocate. So yeah, I mean, that was really it. Nothing crazy. I'm like, if you're authentic and real to me, I'll be real back and help you out. It doesn't take much.
I like that. I like that. Well, that's all the questions I have. How can people find you? And what is one thing you would want to leave people with?
Hit me up everywhere at masonkuhr, Kuhr. It's all socials. You got Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Got a podcast too. My brand is thestampedenetwork.com. Our products are also on Amazon. But one thing I'll leave everybody with. Nothing changes until you change yourself.
I like it. That's it.
That's it. And it's extremely powerful. It's all it needs to be said.
Yeah. Well, Mace, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on, dude. It's dope that we got to do this. We've known each other since 2021, which is wild. So it's dope to get you involved. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate having me on, bro.
Yes, sir. Thanks.